There's a question that came up over here, that what about a sister who's not praying during the month of Ramadan? What does she do? So all the doors of worship are open in Ramadan, besides what Allah has, out of His wisdom, said for us not to engage in. Right? So if a sister is not fasting or praying, these are only two of many acts of worship that she can engage in. Right? One of the very neglected sunnahs that apply to both women and to men is the great merit of listening to Quran. Right? It's a very practicable sunnah in our times, because any of our devices can easily have the Quran on it with a good recording. So you can listen to the Quran. You can follow along in the Quran. You can engage in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can engage in dua. All the doors of devotion are open. In the Hanafi school, as we mentioned, you can engage in i'tikaf at home for part-time or more than that. And that's a door. You want to engage in worship. Tahajjud remains a sunnah for the menstruating woman. Because tahajjud, night worship, is not only night prayer. Tahajjud is any worship you engage in at night after having slept. The door of tahajjud is open. And there's difference of opinion on this, but certainly in the Hanafi school, and the proofs of it, you can look up in the larger works if you'd like to. And if you have questions about it, you can ask on Seekers. But the Hanafi scholars are in agreement that it is religiously recommended. And they did from much precedence from the Sunnah, that it is recommended for a Muslim woman in those times of the month when she's not praying, to sit after each of the obligatory prayers for some time, ideally for the same amount of time that she would normally pray and engage in dhikr and dua or other ibadah. Right? And you're not missing out at all by doing so. One, you're in a state of complete obedience to Allah. This is what your Lord commanded, you're doing it. You're not missing out on any reward by doing that. But this is a good opportunity. Even at work, you used to take the time to go and pray your fard. It's not your time off. It's not like, well, I'm not a servant of Allah. The opportunity is there. And that's something one can avail oneself of, and this is a recommended practice. And in the Hanafi school, the Shafi'is firmly disagree with this, and that's their right. In the Hanafi school, they said it's recommended in that circumstance to make wudu, with the intention of engaging in general ibadah. It's not a wudu to be able to pray, but that's recommended. It's not a requirement, but it helps also practically to be in that state of mind, and to sit for the extent of the particular prayers and engage in ibadah. And there's many things one can engage in. Take the time to listen to the Quran. If you struggle to do khatam of the Quran in Ramadan, khatam of Quran does not have to be by your recitation alone. Any mix of you reciting the Quran or you listening to the Quran does the khatam. So for example, you have a Quran app, you recite slowly. So recite what you can and listen to what you can. And it all counts. Allah is not an accountant. Right? He's not out there to, sort of say, oh, I'll catch you on a technicality. Right? Allah is generous. And don't underestimate His generosity. So this is a door. So you say, I'm busy at work, this and that. On your commute, etc., listen to Quran. Listen to Quran.